Hello, hi, it's Tofu. I am sad. Welcome to Chapter 4 of Danganronpa Another, Chapter 4, Deadly Life. I'm broken, okay? I'm just broken already, and it's probably only gonna get worse. So, if you missed the last episode, go back and watch it now, because we're obviously gonna see a body, and it's not good, okay? Let's go. Haru's dead. Freaking Haru, man. He may have had some questionable thoughts about women. He may have had a few lines of dialogue that I just straight up wanted to ignore. Pretend they didn't exist. But you know what? He had a heart of gold. He really did. He was always trying to keep us together. He's a funny little guy. He was a cool little pilot. He had awesome goggles on. And now he's dead. What the fuck? Also, my voice is still pretty shot from the last episode, which was huge. But I gotta press on. I gotta press on for Haru and figure out what the hell happened to him. So that is the game plan for today. So let's just go on with our investigation. I don't think we have a Monokuma file yet, so I guess we'll talk to Monokuma first.
Oh, Maeda-kun, welcome back!
Monokuma, why are you here? Why do you think he's here?
Geesh, why are you treating me so harshly? I served you a meal as promised, didn't I? Did you eat your food?
I don't have time for your nonsense jokes with you. Disappear.
Why are you so angry, I want?
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Already fucking... ruining the voices, dude.
Why are you so angry, I wonder? Anyways, I've forgotten something, so I came to deliver it to you.
Yeah, there it is. Hello?
It's the Monokuma File 4!
Alright.
Weak reaction? Maeda-kun, you baka! Mulberry!
What? Monokuma File 4. It's already the 4th file. Technically, it's the 5th file. No, let's stop thinking like that. My only option is to think about the case. Alright, well, let's read it. This is the Monokuma file left behind by Monokuma. It doesn't seem like much help, but I'll have to read it first. Yes, let's read it. The victim is Haruhiko Kobushikawa. The estimated time of death is about 6 a.m. The body was found in the arsenal. The cause of death was excessive bleeding due to a gunshot wound to the right chest. In addition, the index finger and middle finger of his right hand were ruptured and broken. Huh? Okay, so there was something up with his hand that, I thought there was. But I'm curious as to why, because, I don't know, it's with the gunshot wound, it does seem like someone just, he agreed to it, right? Two people decided to sacrifice themselves, and a gunshot is just, quick, painless death. But, what would have happened to his hand? I don't know. Gunshot wound. From the first time I saw the arsenal at the ballroom, I guessed it vaguely, but from this fact, the intake seems to be a gun. The time of death here is about 6 a.m. The time was lost when I spent it in the ballroom, but when I went to the dormitory to change my clothes a little earlier, I checked the current time was around 9 a.m. That means Haruhiko's death was less than 3 hours. I got up after listening to the announcement at 7 a.m. this morning. So the incident really happened quite early this time. This time, the time of death is properly written, and I guess the cause of death too. There was a trap in the Monokuma file for the previous case. There was a confusion of the time because it didn't write down whether it was AM or PM, but fortunately there seems to be no doubt about this Monokuma file. But that's it. The Monokuma file is just that. No special clues to be found in it. At least we can know the estimated time of death. Let's take a note of it. Yes, let's do it. Okay. So we have quite a lot to look at here. Before I talk to anyone, let me actually look at the body myself. Oh, Haru. It's Haruhiko's body. It's no different from our friends who have died so far. His cold, empty eyes. We are alive today because you are dead. Don't you think this is absurd? There is no way that Haruhiko, who had passed away in such a devastating manner, would answer me. But the class trial still remains. If we can't find the culprit who killed you, we will all die. By all means, I'll find the one who killed you, Haruhiko. I won't make your death in vain. After expressing minimal condolences to Haruhiko, as if making a prayer, I began to investigate his body. First, the fatal wound that can be considered as a direct cause of death must be a gunshot wound to the chest. In the case of friends who have died so far, if they used a hammer, a knife, or a plaster weapon, that makes the murder weapon bloody. In the case of Haruhiko, it was because Monokuma prepared an arsenal. He was shot because the treasure provided an inspiration to kill him. However, I don't really know how to deal with this, as ordinary students like me don't have the slightest idea of how one feels as being shot. The murder weapon is a gun. Even if it was a gun, what kind of gun is it? In addition to the gunshot wound in his chest, there's something suspicious. Haruhiko's right hand. Blech. His right hand was devastatingly destroyed so much that I couldn't see it with my eyes open. It was literally destroyed. The index and middle fingers were completely amputated, and the remaining fingers were torn to pieces in the skin. I'm sure Haruhiko got his wound from being shot to the chest, but what in the world happened to the wound on his right hand? No matter how much I think about it, I don't think my hand would look like this if I was shot by a bullet. Rather than a gun, it's like he got caught in a dynamite-like explosion. I mean, wasn't there like some kind of explosion when we opened the door? I still don't know what that was about, but I guess there was some stuff by the door, so we'll probably have to look at that. I think it's a little seared when I look at it closely. I wonder what kind of gun was it that shot Haruhiko, and it is urgent that we find out the identity of the object that caused the wound on the right hand. There were no noticeable clues, and I couldn't see any more of my friend's terrible body, so I decided to stop and get up. Gunshot chest wound, ruptured right hand. Look at this gun. It's a pistol. It's located in the immediate vicinity of Haruhiko. Then this pistol could be the weapon that killed Haruhiko. Or so I thought, but soon I realized it was wrong. The guns are all scattered on the floor. There wasn't only one gun that fell on the floor. Perhaps it was the criminal's actions. Most of the guns fell to the floor and were mixed randomly. From this point on, I don't know which gun was the one that directly killed Haruhiko. It would be difficult to conclude that this is the gun used for the killing just because it was the closest one. It seems that the guns were all scattered in order to prevent the real one to be found. I should check things out. Scatter guns. So I'm assuming that all of these guns will have kind of the same... Oh, I can't even look at that one. Huh? Suddenly, while investigating the corner of the wall, I saw something out of place. This gun. Why is it so far away in the corner of the room? I picked it up on the floor and checked it. I felt the heavy, peculiar feeling of how real it was, but I couldn't find anything particularly strange. It's just a gun that doesn't change much like the other guns that are on display. Was it just a little far away? Maeda, what are you doing? Huh? What is it, Teruya? You should take your hands off that gun right now! Wait, this must be some misunderstanding. I was just trying to investigate over here. That gun, it will blow up! Wait, what? Eh? Blow up? What are you talking about? What are you doing? Now you've decided to kill. It's a shame for me to tell you this, but it would be a big deal if I were in your shoes right now, so never touch that gun. That's not it. I was just trying to investigate it. Why would I try to kill you? Eh? You weren't trying to shoot me? No. It's an investigation. We can't kill anybody. That's like in the rules, right? That's right. So what did you mean by this blowing up? Forget it. It's nothing. Okay, that was suspicious. Teruya's sudden behavior is strange, but according to his words, this could be dangerous. So I put the pistol in its original position and decided to leave it alone. However, Teruya's strange remarks feel like something is odd. I'll take note of it. Okay, so okay. I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. Who the killer is. So I'm probably just gonna stand still as I try to theorize for a bit. So I don't have really a ton of in-universe evidence for this at the moment, but I have a lot of, narrative understanding of how characters die in these. So my theory is based on that. I don't think that... Okay, there are 7 of us left, right? 6, not counting Yuki Maeda, which I don't think it's him, unless they really pull something strange over me. Which is possible, because he was getting kind of insane, but our vision was blurred, but I don't know, I don't think that's happening. So we have 6 possible suspects, right? 4 of those suspects, Kinjo, Makaru, Akane, and Kurokawa, I feel like they are far too important to the plot to die in Chapter 4. I don't know. I don't think they're going to die here. That doesn't make sense to me. I would be genuinely so surprised if it was any of those 4. Because like they have just had so much importance so far that it's like that would just be extremely weird if one of them died right now. Which leaves 2 suspects, Teruya and Satsuki. And I think there's kind of conflicting evidence for both of them. For one, okay, let me, how do I explain this? Okay, so Satsuki, I feel one way that it is not likely to be her as the killer is because Haru just died, and, you know, that leaves her with a lot of potential to be a good survivor because she has to deal and grow from the loss of her friend. That's just kind of character development 101 in these things. So I feel like that makes it more likely that she will survive, and that makes it more likely that Teruya is the culprit. However, something that is not in Satsuki's favor is, this is a bit more of a meta thing, but something I call execution potential. Now, you know, obviously that's not the only thing that you think about when making a death order, right? But it is something that I think a lot of people do think about when making a death order and deciding who the killers are is, you know, can this character have an interesting execution based on what their talent is? And Teruya's talent is, what, the ultimate merchant? Something like that, some kind of salesman. I forget exactly the wording of it, but I think it's merchant. He's a merchant. I have no idea how the hell you can make an execution based on that. I have genuinely no idea. Does that mean it can't be done? Absolutely not. You can absolutely do it, and I'm sure they could do it if that happens to be what we're going to. But when it comes to Satsuki's execution potential, she's a clown. There is so much you can do with the circus, man. You could do, you know, like acrobatics, trapeze, dealing with circus animals, jumping through hoops of fire. There is so much awesome potential for a circus-themed execution. And I'm just like, oh boy. They could have a lot of fun, and it would be a pretty good execution if Satsuki has one. I don't want to see it, though, because I want her to live. But I'm just saying, I feel like that is a good... some good fuel to the fire for why Satsuki could be the killer from a, you know, a narrative perspective. In universe-wise, I got nothing. I don't really know. Satsuki and Teruya both kind of took food, so they're both kind of already feeling bad about things, and they already did bad things. But I don't know, that behavior from Teruya was a little strange, and definitely points in his favor of being the killer. But I don't know, anything could happen. I have a bit more to say about that, but I'll get back to investigation for now, because I've been talking for too long about this. Anyways, what else is there to look at before we actually go and actually start talking to people? It's like there's some stuff down here. Ugh, the smell. This is the source of the smoke. What is that? Military smokescreen that was often used for strategic purposes in modern warfare, as it was on the ground and still spreading a little bit of smoke from it. Close to the smoke bomb, there was a flash grenade that had been used and became an empty steel barrel. Flashbang and smokescreen. These were also... When Teruya and I opened the door at first to the arsenal this morning, in an instant, a tremendous light and sound came upon me. Excuse me. At the same time, the smoke stream spread like a mist. Looking at this far, no matter what I think, these grenades can be affirmed as the cause of the situation. The question is who? Who would do this, and what happened while we were confused? Was it also the culprit? In most realistic cases, when we opened the arsenal, the killer was already inside the arsenal. Even if it was estimated from the time of death of Haruhiko, the timing was right, and in an absolute soundproofed arsenal, no matter how loud it was, it would have been impossible to be noticed. There's only one entrance to the arsenal. In order to escape, they would have had no way but to meet us outside. Was the smokescreen and flashbang used to avoid that encounter? However, when I recall the situation in the morning, it would be difficult to say that a person would artificially come out at the same time we opened the door. Oh no, wait. This is... A thick wooden plank was stuck in the inner handle of the arsenal door, and now it was in the state of being doubled towards the opening of the door. Something that I heard right before opening the door with Teruya this morning. Looks like it was this wooden board. The overall development that can be inferred so far is the thick plank was clasped in the door of the arsenal, and the flash and smoke grenades were placed on the plank. If that happens, when you forcefully open the door from the outside, the board gets crushed and the placed grenades fall on the floor. That shock triggered the grenades. But something feels weird. In the end, if it was meant to be used by the killer to get out of the arsenal through enormous light and sound, was it necessary to use this cumbersome method? I can't even guess what the killer's goal was. Alright, well, we've got that. Can we look at... This is blood on the floor, right? What is up here? At first, there was no distinction from the thin blood on the floor, but when I looked closely, I felt something. It was like the remnants of something other than blood was stuck on the floor. A gun. Is it really? It was so disastrously destroyed that there was almost no form left, but I almost thought of a gun form of parts. It wasn't just because of destruction, but a large amount of blood with each piece of it. Because of the lighting on the floor, it was difficult to see it clearly. How can it be destroyed in this way, though? It's like seeing a bloody octopus. What? That doesn't make sense. While observing the remains of the destroyed gun, I suddenly found something noticeable. This gun is loaded with bullets. In my mind, I checked around the other guns, but all of the magazines were empty. For this to be the only one destroyed, a small number of bullets were loaded. The arsenal is basically unloaded, and the bullets who were loaded separately are stuck on the magazine. Because of these conditions, and the fact that the only one loaded with bullets is this gun means, there's a possibility that this is the murder weapon. This sounds like a pretty important clue. Let's be careful to remember this. Destroyed gun. Okay, am I crazy though? Is this not blood that's all over the floor? And why can I not look at it? Also, how is there that much blood if that's what it is? Because he didn't... I mean, like... I don't think you'd bleed that much from a gunshot wound. But what do I know? I don't know shit about guns. There's blood splattered in this area, too. Whoa, I was trying to check on the condition of the guns in display. There was blood on the display, but when I looked up close, I witnessed an even more grotesque sight. Oh, ew, fingers. No, get those off the screen. It was human fingers no matter how you look at it. And of course, the owner of these fingers was Haru. I know Haruhiko's body had a ruptured hand in addition to the gunshot wound in the chest. Among them, his index finger and middle finger fell off from it. His fingers lie here as proof. But why are his fingers here? At first glance, it was far away from Haruhiko's body. From the shape of the blood, it seems like he began to walk after his fingers got cut. No, it's the opposite. It's likely that this was rather his body moved, just by taking a glance on the floor. Should I consider the possibility that the killer moved the body for some reason? Severed fingers. Okay. What do you think about this, Akane? Oh, Maeda-kun. Taira, what are you doing without investigating? I'm sorry, the body is so terrible. I understand it's hard, but we can't help it. We have to do it. We have to do our own investigation as far as we can. I know, it's been about a week since Yuharu-kun's case. Really, it's been that long. I'll do my best. Makara, I want to ask you something. It's noisy. Since when did you get along with me talking so freely? Get lost. Even so, I thought we would cooperate a little by passing the same point of death, but it seems to have gotten worse. In this case, it might be better to cooperate with Kinjo as much as possible with this limited time. Yeah, he's probably at least got a better idea of what's going on here. Maeda. In the end, I can't hide the awkward mood. Kinjo told me to focus only on the investigation, but I was still worried about it. Yes? Do you have anything to ask about the case? Well, I mean, Haruhiko's body. He wasn't killed instantly, right? Indeed. In fact, there is a hole in the chest. and even in the Monokuma file, is said to be an excessive bleeding death due to a gunshot wound. A gun. Until now, thanks to the layout of the school, there were murders with items that would be common in the everyday life. To think there would be a person who was shot to death. It's fine. You guys might not be familiar, but I have my fair share with gunshots. Yeah, I figured. If there's something you don't know, it's fine to ask. Is it because the incident happened? Even though there was a conflict less than 24 hours ago, Kinjo wasn't much different from the way he usually treats me. Well, maybe it's the gun and the chest wound. Would it be better to see this as an immediate death? No, I don't think Haruhiko is close to immediate death. Huh? Why is that? Even if it was on the chest, it's not the heart, it's the right chest. The bullet passed through the body. Since it wasn't stuck, it would have been possible to move for a short amount of time, rather than die immediately. It wasn't stuck, it means it penetrated the body? Wouldn't it be more dangerous then? There are surprisingly many people who think that way, but in reality, it's better for a bullet to pass through the body than being stuck in it. There are 3 types of layer damage to a body. One is bleeding, another is burning, the last one is the impact of a bullet's kinetic energy. If you look at it one by one, it's difficult to inflict great damage due to the small surface area. In case of burns, it is rare that from excessive bleeding you die immediately. But the story of a shock caused by the kinetic energy is different. Maeda, if you get hit with a fist or a bat, it will be difficult to move due to the impact, right? Well, if you're an ordinary person who doesn't have even special training, that would be even worse. Similarly, when a bullet gets stuck inside the body, all the kinetic energy turns into shock energy, creating an instantaneous large space in the body. The fact that this space has been created means that the body has been greatly shocked. This shock will cause negligible damage, and damage to the surrounding organs as well. Really? I'm not sure what you mean exactly, but anyways, that means penetration is a better alternative than getting stuck, right? That's what it means. In fact, in some foreign countries, there are bullets that split the front part of the bullet and causes fragments that get stuck into the body. That's terrible. The bullet did this. It was a fatal injury to be hit by this bullet, whether it was struck or it was pierced in the body. Especially in the case of Haruhiko, as Maeda said, the chest was hit, so even if it was pierced, there is a high possibility that a hole in his lungs was pierced through. As I said before, it's only less shocking, and he must have died shortly after having difficulty breathing and bleeding. It's hard. Guns should only be cheap for the wicked, unless it's an extreme game. This is an extreme situation. It doesn't really seem like a need to be talked about. Anyways, I'll move to another place since the arsenal has been roughly investigated. Make sure to investigate carefully if you find something. Let me know, Maeda. And away he goes. Kinjo, there was an incident yesterday and he seemed a lot unstable recently, but it seems everything is okay because of the current one. Was it only me that had a hard time to deal with it? No way. Everyone kinda lost it, even Makaru was getting close to snapping. Seriously, Kinjo is a completely different person from the first time we met, the time he was hostile to us, and the time most of the investigation. For now, let's check what Kinjo told me. I didn't really understand it at all, but in summary, it's better to be pierced with the bullet and having it stuck, and Haruhiko's case was the latter. Was it like this? Okay. Well, let's look at other places then. Hello, Satsuki, how are you doing? Satsuki, why are you standing still doing what?
Yuki, what am I supposed to do?
Is it because it's Haru? Seems too horrible, but now you have no choice but to investigate, even if it sounds cheap, in order to survive.
To survive? Is it...
Satsuki?
No, yeah. The investigation. I have to. Yeah.
She was so quiet that it wasn't like Satsuki at all, and the girl that went rampant like always. It seems that Haruhiko's death hurt more on her than any of us. I mean, yeah, like... I feel like a lot of the characters so far have not really had as much of a close relationship with each other. The only exception to that, really, I would say is, you know, maybe us and Akane and Ayame. Other than that, it felt like not a lot of people were getting too close to each other. Obviously, they were still kind of getting close, but no one was as close as Satsuki and Haru had gotten. And, like, they had gotten closer for, like, the past 3 chapters, so, like, that's really tough for her to deal with. Huh. Kirikawa, you were here. What about the arsenal investigation? I did it, roughly. You aren't supposed to do it roughly. Maeda, I want you to listen to me. Huh? There's a problem with the alibis. During dawn, I kept monitoring the hallway. You were Kurikawa? Nodding. Are you okay? I didn't really know, but you could have died because of hunger. It's okay. I'm used to it. You're used to it? Anyways, about the alibis. My room is right next to the arsenal. Unfortunately, because of the soundproof, I couldn't hear anything inside the arsenal. Only the sound of the arsenal door opening and closing could be heard. That means you saw it? You saw who went into the arsenal? I heard the sounds. I couldn't see them from this room, but I could see the moment when they were passing by the door of my room. Isn't that right next to the arsenal anyway? If I had passed in front of Kurikawa's room and headed to the arsenal, no. This is the hallway on the left side in front of the arsenal. Due to the structure of the ballroom, if you turn to the other side and enter the arsenal, you can move without seeing the eyes of Kurikawa. That's right, but at least I've seen a few people that entered the arsenal. Really? Who were they? One is Haruhiko, and the other? The rest, I'll tell you in the trial. Suddenly I thought about investigating. Okay. Still a weird girl as usual, but thanks to Kurikawa, this case could be solved fairly easily. Apart from that, I'm worried about Kurikawa's health. She usually looks weak and nervous, but this time she couldn't even sleep or eat at all. I hope she's okay. Alright. What are you looking at? Kinja, what are you doing in front of the door? Maeda, you're here. There's something I was going to check right now, but if it's okay, why don't we check together this out? Check this out together. What are we looking for? We're looking at it. The door? Or the room? It's open, wasn't this room? Indeed, it was from Haruhiko Kobushikawa's corpse. I borrowed the key from it for a while. Wait. This is Haru's room? Why did you say it like that? Why did you be like, it's the room of his corpse? Like, you can still say it was his room. You don't have to suddenly just be like, well, he's dead. We will only refer to him as a corpse and not as the person he was. Fuck you, dude. Because this is an incident in a closed space with limited movement, it's better to search everywhere as possible. I decided to follow Kinjo and investigate Haru's room. Alright. Looks about the same. It's a room that's no different from my room, shockingly enough. Maeda, look at this. There's something of interest here. Yeah, some kind of paper. A note. To Haruhiko, I have something to say. If you read this, why don't you come to the arsenal? I'm not going to kill you. I hope you believe me. I'll be waiting. This is... Man, these people gotta stop falling for these notes, man. Never go to see anyone alone in a killing game, bro. Never do it. Don't do it. It's bad. Never ends well. Ugh. The letter was written by the killer. It's the same method as when Maki was killed. Besides, this letter wasn't torn like last time. It's proof that the culprit couldn't even mess with. However, this seems a little more than what it takes. What it takes? I'll ask you, Maeda. After reading this, would you go to the arsenal? Huh? I mean... By the time this letter was sent, they would kill me. Just after we hit each other and fought. In that situation, if I received a letter like this from you... That was also the way Mitsuhiro Higa used putting a letter down the door. Down the door? How can you even know that? Can't you tell by a glance? There's no reason to meet face to face and give a letter. And there is no other way to send a letter in a locked room like this. It's definitely the first time anyone thinks of calling themselves out for murder. But why did Haruhiko go directly to the arsenal? Well, but couldn't it have been that they didn't know because it was impossible to think normally? I mean, just before we went crazy. No, we were already crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. If you look at the source of that madness, it's due to being starved and dying because we couldn't eat food, and the fear that someone might kill you. In other words, it's because of the self-defense fear of death. I don't want to die. So you'd rather judge things related to death more rationally than usual in extreme situations. Still, the question remains, why did Haruhiko go through the death's door by all means? Is it because they believed it? What? Haruhiko probably believed. He believed there was no one in our group that could commit a murder. They believed until the very end. We were all on the verge of releasing the strings of reason, but it was different from Haruhiko. He was the same. He wasn't sane, but he still opposed the idea of murder to the end. That is true. I think he was like the only one that was still kind of rejecting Taria's idea of sacrificing. Kinjo, you did that too, right? He didn't want to ask you, but we've all gotten weird. He pled to you to do something. Because Haruhiko was like that. Even if they were insane, he would have trusted a friend and go straight to the arsenal. Such stupidity. That's not worth of the word trust. It's like jumping into death without being able to judge the situation. What's with that face? Were you hoping to get closer to me? Did you want me to be impressed by saying this was your way of showing your trust to others? Well, look at the result. He died because of that stupidity. That's the reason I'm far away from people like this. Kinjo. Enough, we're investigating now. We can't get excited over personal feelings. Well, whether Haruhiko acted that way because of a mischief is withheld, but this letter is an important clue in the end. Just finding this gives a great achievement. There seems to be nothing else special in the room other than this. I'll leave it check another place then. Let's see each other at the class trial. Have some fucking empathy, bro. I thought he was okay, but Kinjo is, after all, having a doubt on his mind. If this class trial ends safely and we all survive, we'll have to seriously talk about Kinjo's state. A letter in the room. Is there anything else, like, under the bed? Oh god, I did not want to go in the bed. Yeah, there's nothing else in here. Okie dokie. This is room 14. That was Taria's room, which... we know he had the food in there. I just thought maybe there would be something in there, but I guess not. Speaking of Taria, are you okay? You're speaking in Korean, so I don't know what you just said, but I guess you don't really want to talk right now. Anything to look at in here? Does not really look like it. Yeah, I don't know. This might be a pretty short investigation, actually, which I'm fine with. I'm definitely fine with that, because, like, I don't really know. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of stuff to look at in here. Maybe up by the dressing rooms? Or are these still just as unimportant as usual? Yeah, there does not appear to be anything in here. Okay. Well, then that just leaves the hallway and the empty room, so... Unless we have more to investigate outside of the ballroom, we should be wrapping up with the investigation pretty soon. Okay, there's no one on this side. Alright, let's just go into the empty room. Are you serious? There's nothing in here. What is the point of this room? No, there's gotta be something, man. There's gotta be something. What else is there to look at? Is there anything up here that I didn't look at? Do I have to go back into the arsenal? I guess Kurikawa went in here, so maybe I have to talk to her. She's up there now. I looked at everything there. I guess we'll just talk to Kurikawa. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Hello? No? What am I supposed to do? What else is there to look at? I don't... Did they want me to look at Haru's body again after talking to Kinjo about the gunshot wounds? Maybe that's it. Oh, did I look at this? Blood traces dance throughout the arsenal as if Haruhiko wandered around the arsenal after being shot. What is this? This unnatural blood stain. It's only obvious that it's Haru's blood, but rather than trying to run away after being shot, just by looking at the blood spots, it seems as if he was trying to move in the arsenal all over the place. Simply put, it was so bizarre. Is it reasonable to assume that this degree of descriptive blood was made by the killer, dragging Haruhiko unconscious? Well, for now, I can only think of it as a possibility, but there must be some reason for the blood to be left in this way. Unnatural bloodstains. Yeah, that was the last thing. Is that really it?
Hello, can everyone hear me? It's already time. Anyways, it happened only inside the ballroom, so there's not much to investigate, right? Now then, everyone, please gather in front of the entrance to the courtroom.
So it's already the end of the investigation. No matter how much I do this, it's too short. Damn, I don't think I've recovered my sensitivity yet on my body. But it can't be helped. I did my best to investigate as much as I could. All that remains is that we have investigated so far. We have no choice but to guess the killer with everyone else. Damn. That was a really short investigation, but it makes sense. Everyone's here. Yes. God, there's so few of us now. Ah! Oh, Maeda is here. Then let's start the trial. Only the tension is flowing. The mood is terribly awkward. While in the ballroom, the world of a lawless land was so colorless and hard. Above all, the number of people was too small. 7 people, including me. Besides, one of us is the culprit who killed Haruhiko. Even if the trial is safely handed over, the criminal will be executed. Only 6 people will remain. 6. It was a number that didn't feel real. When has our head count been reduced to this extent?
Looks like everyone has gathered. Well, it's easier to manage people since the numbers have been reduced. But isn't everyone's tension too low? Events that are washed out like class trials are more lively, you know. It's no fun because there's no reaction at all. Jeez. Now then, it's already the 4th time, right? This is the start of a fun class trial, so get on the elevator.
Whatever the case, I have to go beyond this class trial. The later issues are for later. Everyone has their faces as if they were determined to do something even in an awkward mood. Different thoughts intersect each other, and we run into a hell called a class trial once again. Alright, let's talk to everyone. We finally escaped from the ballroom due to the death of Kobushikawa-kun and escaped the risk of being hungry to death. I am not happy at all. We could only survive by someone's sacrifice. It's the same for the class trials. At the expense of one criminal, it's a system where everyone lives. I'm so sad that I have to do this again.
Kobazing.
Oh, Satsuki. This case. No, you don't have to think so complicated.
What do you want? Don't worry about me. I'm not crying.
Dude, what's up with him? She's still silent. Let's move. Damn, that's all you gotta say. Let's do it. Then I'll open the door. Let's go. Alright. God, man. At first, I thought this elevator was so narrow that it felt full, but now it's so wide. I looked at the 6 other than me. In heavy silence, one by one. Kinjo is now in complete trial mode. In this state, Kinjo does a 180-degree change. He only uses his head to break through the events before his eyes. But is it because of our mood that it looks like there's an anxious expression somewhere? Iranami, who has not lost her bright appearance at any time, she was still unable to escape from her shock of losing Haru. She wasn't the same. She wasn't the same Satsuki anymore, and her shaggy appearance made even the beholder's heart ache. Kurikawa was always the same. She just stayed consistent with silence, and I couldn't even tell what she was thinking. Taira looked very tired. She doesn't want to lose any more friends, and she doesn't want to go through class trials anymore. That kind of heart seemed to linger on her face. Teruya was restless. After the incident, I may feel that Teruya's behavior is strange, but if you think about it, Teruya was like this at every trial, so it's not unusual, I guess. Makaru wasn't saying that she'd watch us shovel as usual, but she was thinking of something unfamiliar to Makaru. Like something unexpected even for her. Is there anything that will get us stuck in this case? Different thoughts and different beliefs cross between each other. At the point where there are only 7 people left, we are thinking differently, but we have to overcome this. A hell-like 4th-class trial. Here we are. What does the trial room look like this time? The elevator stops. As if we had made an appointment, we step at the same time without a special signal. Towards a very familiar courtroom. Oh. Oh, this one looks kind of creepy.
You are here! I was waiting! How are you guys? It's been a long time, hasn't it?
You met with us right after the murder happened a while ago, though.
Nah, I mean meeting me as the judge. Well, it's been more than a week since the last trial. Instead of that, this presiding judge is much more stylish than usual.
Don't be useless and start the damn thing already.
Shocked? Well, I'm always neglected, but this time it's getting more thorns. Don't you think so, Maeda-kun?
I don't care. Start as Makaru said already.
Even Maeda-kun is rude to me. This could be a sign to represent your heartache. Boo! Then I'll start as you want.
Oh boy, okay. Well, here we are.
Now, shall we start right away? To uncover the truth of the prolonged stay in the ballroom incident for more than a week, we have the all-exciting, heart-pounding class trial.
The only thing that's the same as usual is Monokuma. Each one of us were in serious mode, unlike usual. The tense of this trial, the feeling of losing a dear friend to us. The reasons were different, but in the end, we came here for the class trial. Now all that remains is to find the culprit by confronting all the clues, testimonies, and test our wits that we have. Oh, God, Haru! Our relationship with him was finally bonding us together in the middle. He was like a licorice in a drugstore. What the fuck does that mean? With Satsuki, he always showed his bright side, and at the same time, his love for his friend was twice as deep as anyone else's. As a result, thanks to his death, we were able to eat and survive, but Haruhiko couldn't eat anymore. It was an unavoidable choice to live, but as a result, there's a culprit that killed Haruhiko. If we don't find them, we will all die in the end. Ugh. The atmosphere of the court is filled with silence. Our trial finally begins. A life-threatening discussion. A life-threatening lie. A life-threatening betrayal. A life-threatening conclusion. A life-threatening defense. A life-threatening trust. A life-threatening class trial. Oh, stinking boy. Alright, well that investigation was short, so we're just gonna keep going. And we'll just stop the trial, I don't know, at some point when it feels like a good stopping place to split the trial up. But for now, let's go through the truth bullets. We shouldn't have too many this time. So, you know, if you don't care about me reviewing the truth bullets, again, as always, feel free to skip ahead to the more exciting parts. Monokuma File 4. Victim is Haruhiko. The estimated time of death is about 6 a.m. The body was found in the arsenal. The cause of death is excessive bleeding due to a gunshot wound on the right chest. In addition, the index finger and middle finger of his right hand were ruptured and broken. Gunshot chest wound. Gunshot wound on the body's chest. It is also written in the Monokuma file, but it appears to be the direct cause of death. Unlike so far, it is the first murder that has occurred with a weapon for murder called a gun. So I can only get a sense of how to deal with these things. Furthermore, there are so many weapons in the arsenal and all of them are scattered, it won't be easy to find which one did it. Ruptured right hand. The corpse's right hand was in a terrifyingly miserable state. Flesh was tattered and a little discolored, while the index and middle fingers were completely cut off and went missing. What method was it used to destroy a hand in such a horrifying way? And was there any reason to destroy someone's hand like this? Guns on the display in the arsenal were randomly scattered, so it was impossible to find out the direct murder weapon that hit Haruhiko. It's possible the culprit deliberately destroyed the gun. Bloodstain that Haruhiko shed was a little strange, as if he was wandering throughout the arsenal. Blood was smeared everywhere like a path. Was the killer dragging his corpse around? Anyways, there must be a reason for the blood to be left in this state. It's Haruhiko's severed fingers. However, seeing that the location of his fingers is quite far away from his body, I should also consider the possibility that Haruhiko was moved from his original position when he was killed. Gun was completely destroyed. Gun was also smeared with blood, shattered, and fragmented. One interesting thing is that it was a loaded gun. How was it destroyed like this? I should also consider the possibility that this was the murder weapon that killed Haruhiko. It cannot be ruled out given the bullets in it. Flash and smoke grenades. These were located near the entrance of the arsenal. I recall the fact when we opened the door to the arsenal at first. It seems the criminal manipulated 2 grenades to detonate when the door was opened. If that's the case, what's the reason? There's a possibility that the culprit in the arsenal escaped as they crossed us through the flashbang and smoke. Wood plank is broken and was stuck in the doorknob of the arsenal. When I opened the door with Tsuruya, we heard a sound of something crack from the inside while pushing, which it seems this was the origin of the sound. The purpose was to make the door hard to open, and at the same time put the flash and smoke grenades on top of it so when we opened the door they would fall, right? It's a pistol that doesn't look much different from the pistol who was destroyed. One strange thing is that it was alone in a corner as if someone hid it. Does it mean something? Or is it just that the killer disposed of it while messing with their gun? Touching a gun alone in the corner of the arsenal, Tsuruya showed a strange disapproval. He kept telling me to keep my hands off the gun because it could trigger on its own. What on earth was he talking about? And when I questioned him, he panicked and left the arsenal. Does Tsuruya know something? Letter in the room. After borrowing a key from Haruhiko's body and checking his room, we find an unknown letter on the floor. The contents of the letter are as follows. To Haruhiko, I have something to tell you. If you read this, why don't you come to the arsenal? I'm not trying to kill you. I hope you believe me. Oh, wait. Room that Mikako used was the room right next to the arsenal. According to her, she heard a few people entering the arsenal during the dawn hours. She didn't say any details, but Mikako might know our alibis during dawn. According to Kinjo, the gunshot that caused Haruhiko's death would not have been an instant death. The bullet didn't... excuse me, I'm sorry. The bullet didn't get stuck and went through the body, so the impact was small and they may have been able to move even a little. However, he said they probably died not long after his chest was blown. Alright, and that is all of the truth bullets. So, before we get started, I just want to go over... I want to talk a bit more about some theories again. So obviously I think it's either... like I said, it's got to be either Teruya or Satsuki. If it's literally anyone else, I will be extremely, extremely shocked and very impressed at how they managed to do that. But like, I don't know, it has to be one of those two. It just has to be. And I think like, you know, you might think like it can't be Satsuki because why would she kill Haru, her friend? But it's like, I don't know. I can see something happening where it's like they both felt bad about taking the food and they just opted to sacrifice themselves, to be the two people to sacrifice themselves, and like they kind of agreed upon it. I can see that being something that happened. Honestly, same with Teruya, because he took food too. It's like maybe he did it as well, to try to make up for it, to sacrifice himself. I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't think that this was a, you know, malicious kill, like kind of what the past couple cases have been. You know, it seems like it was done to save people. And obviously, like, that was, like, the other cases as well, except for Mitch's trial, but, you know, I don't know, I feel like Haru kind of knew what he was getting himself into, so I don't know, but the fingers thing is still confusing to me. I don't know why that had to happen, but I don't know, I guess we'll find out soon enough. I'm gonna take a drink of water. You guys should hydrate as well. Alright. Oh boy, let's do it. Let's begin the class trial. In session. Let's do it.
First, let's start with a brief explanation of the class trial. The outcome of the class trial is decided by your votes. If you point out the blackened, only they will be punished, but in case you point out the wrong person, I'll punish everyone except the blackened, and the one who deceived everyone else can proudly leave this school. Also, this translation was made by Zephi. Their link is still in the description. It finally started. The fourth class trial. One of us is the culprit that killed Haruhiko. We must find the culprit at all costs. Now then, please begin your discussion.
Guys? Right, yeah, we should we start discussing? Okay, we have to work hard, so where do we start with? What, this stuffy, awkward mood? Well, it's not unreasonable because our conflict reached its peak. First, I think each of you will have a lot of things to say before the trial, and the feelings that you're feeling will be different. But now, let's focus on the trial in front of you, aside from everything else. Just like we did before so far, haven't we? Kinjo. As Kinjo said, now it's the trial. Let's swallow what we want to say to each other for a moment, because survival is our priority now. Ha! You don't take that for granted, do you? Let's get started already. Then, let's begin. Once we get the case sorted out, let's organize the series of events in chronological order based on what each knows.
Hey, wait a minute. Before that, I have something to say. Just for a minute, please.
And what is it, Iranami?
I'm the killer.
What the fuck? What? No. No! No, 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 no. Satsuki-chan? What did you say just now?
I said, I'm the killer.
I know I pulled this same shit as well, and it actually was, but no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
I'm the culprit who killed Haruhiko Kobashikawa.
Don't play around, Irinami. What are you saying all of a sudden?
It's not a joke.
Are you serious? Don't make me laugh. Do you think that if you claim to be the criminal without physical evidence or logic, you'll become the culprit?
But I really killed Haruhiko.
It can't be. Stop making bad jokes, Satsuki-chan. You should explain one step at a time. If we listen and we're convinced, then we can really believe that you're the culprit. Suddenly, what is all this? Just as the trial begins, she said she was the culprit. If it were a normal culprit, they would never confess. Would Satsuki really be the culprit? Before making any judgments, let's first listen to Satsuki's story. Okay. Now let's go now. Spinny time. Satsuki, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not you. No. I know I said it has to be either her or Teruya, but I'm still nope, not her. Can't be. Flash and smoke grenades, let her in the room, chest wound. Why are you claiming to be the culprit? Let's hear your reason.
At dawn, Kobazing called me.
Wait, what?
I followed Kobazing, we went to the arsenal. And then all by myself, he pointed a gun at me. I just shot him in self-defense.
No, that can't be right. Okay, so I think it's the first one because she said that Kobazing called her. And we have the note that says otherwise. So, that is, not right. Let's skip to this. Boom! That's wrong, Satsuki. You're not the culprit. Alright. Easy enough. Wait, Satsuki. Haruhiko called you. Isn't that odd?
Is it weird?
The victim, Haruhiko, called you. The culprit. That can't be it. Rather, the victim, Haruhiko, was called by the culprit and went to the arsenal. If you were the culprit, you would know.
You are saying he was called by the killer? That's, I don't know.
That's ridiculous. The letter that was put in Haruhiko's room is what he's talking about. The contents are like this. To Haruhiko, I have something to tell you. If you read this, why don't you come to the arsenal? I'm not trying to kill you. I hope you believe me. I'll wait. Whoa, if the contents of that letter are true, it makes no sense that Kobashikawa-kun called Satsuki-chan and took her to the arsenal, right? It would be the opposite. That's right, but Satsuki said that she doesn't know much about this letter. The killer doesn't know the letter they sent. No, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know. What if it was manipulation? Yuki and Tsurugi wrote that letter that I didn't know, and you're manipulating things now.
Don't be a thickhead. Obviously, this evidence came from Haruhiko's room. So, Irinami is not the culprit?
Wrong. I really mean it. I'm the real culprit.
Just looking at the current evidence, to say that Satsuki is the culprit, it's hard to tell, but I want to make things a little more clear. So let's ask about it. Haruhiko's other wound, whose source is unknown to the evidence that only the culprit, only they must know. The hand? Is it the hand? I'm guessing, right? Because if she's saying she just shot him in self-defense, then there would be no reason to do this to his hand, so... I guess we'll ask her about that. Satsuki, if you're really the culprit, there's one thing I want you to tell me. This isn't like the letter, but a direct clue to Haruhiko's body. So if you're the culprit, it's a clue that you must know.
What's that?
Haruhiko's right hand, you recall? His right hand was completely shattered. It's hard to say that this was a gunshot wound. If you're the culprit, can you tell me the true nature of this wound?
I don't know. Why did his hand become that way?
You don't have to talk anymore. You're not the culprit.
Wait a second, I'm telling the truth.
Why are you still claiming to be the killer? If it's real, even if Iranami is the culprit, you'll only get executed. I don't know what you're thinking, but this is not a joke. If Iranami unnecessarily confuses our reasoning and chooses the wrong killer, we will all die. I feel like she's not lying. I don't think she is the culprit, but I think she thinks she is. I think she definitely did something. Maybe she did shoot him. She just didn't kill him. Or it didn't kill him. Someone else did. Maybe that might have been the purpose. What? She was close to Haruhiko Kobushikawa, who died this time, right? Apparently, it looks like she was in a severe shock, unlike the usual one who always talks at random. With that shock in mind, you are trying to make us follow Haruhiko Kobushikawa's fate, isn't that right?
That was it? Absolutely not. Of course, I am really sad that Haru died, but I'm very much sane.
Stop it, Iranami. We haven't even started a proper discussion yet. If the discussion goes on, the killer will naturally be revealed. If you are really the killer, you don't have to rush things. It'll all turn out okay. Setsuki-chan.
Oh, alright then. Let's discuss about it.
Has it been roughly organized? You wasted my time on useless things. So let's start from the beginning again, when the case started to happen. Hold on a minute. Is it okay to wait 1 minute before that? In this case, can we assume that Iranami isn't completely the culprit? No, not necessarily. If Iranami is really the culprit, there's still a possibility there. That's it? We haven't started any reasoning yet. First, there's a possibility from what happened a little while ago, but maybe there's something up. In that way, they were excluding themselves from the suspect line.
That had to be calculated. With Iranami's mind, it would be impossible to tell. Hey, you're treating me as a fool right now?
I don't think it was on purpose. Quiet. First, as Kinjo says, let's summarize the unfolding of the case. Oh, right. Where can we start from the evening before the incident happened? Oh, that was when Maeda-kun, Kobushikawa-kun, Atori-kun, and Satsuki-chan, Mikako-chan, and me, 6 people gathered at the restaurant. Maeda-kun called us and... At the time, we were at the limit of our hunger, and we all thought to come together and meet each other in the thought that we should somehow unfold a hard policy. At that time, Teruya suggested...
I'll tell you, I wasn't really sane back then. That's what happened. It was my fault for being immature.
No, I get it. What's this? I didn't even see your faces the day before the murder took place. I don't know this, so explain exactly what's going on. Teruya gave us a pen and paper to nominate 1 victim and 1 culprit. He asked for 1 person to vote. Since Monokuma banned suicide, it was a plan to set up the case at the expense of 2 people.
That was really crazy. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. It's all over now. We almost agreed to this plan, too. It looks like the part I saw from there. I broke into the restaurant because the absurd plan was about to be implemented. Yeah, Kinjo-kun came in and handed out guns to each of us to commit suicide.
Puh. What?
Oh, no, nothing at all. Keep going. Well, that's when we started to fight back at Kinjo, and we were lucky enough to catch him and was judged to be dangerous, so he couldn't move anymore.
Pah!
Ugh. Oh my, sorry, I am so uneducated today. Continue. So? The problem starts after this. Thanks to Kinjo, the plan was halted, but there was no progress for the day. We locked Kinjo in the room and then went back to each room. Between this morning, Haruhiko died.
I couldn't sleep at all night, so I was staying with my eyes open. But I heard something outside in the morning, so I went out and Maeda was asking for help, saying that the door was not opening.
And when you somehow opened the door, you found the body? Yeah, that's right. This case is missing our eyes between the dawn hours, and there is not much evidence, so we have no choice but to share information we know with each other. First, a few alibis can be established just by hearing about this. Alibis? Yes, so then let's dig into the alibis one by one, alright? Spinny time! What do we got? Kurikawa's testimony, unnatural bloodstains, severed fingers, destroyed gun. It's probably going to be Kurikawa's testimony because she actually saw people, or heard people. Wouldn't be a problem if I excluded myself from the suspect list since I was tied up, right? Certainly an idea where Kinjo commits the crime doesn't seem possible. Yeah, I do agree with that. I have an alibi too, Maeda and me. I wouldn't say that's an alibi. We were together when the BDA happened, but the death was like an hour before that. If so, the ones who can be suspected as a criminal are Makaru Taira, Iranami Kurikawa. It's those 4 people. I really don't have an alibi, but it's not me.
Satsuki is the killer.
You shut up already. Stop causing trouble. If only there was more information I could check. Okay, it's just that. It's this one. I don't even need to go through it again. I wonder if she said something at the end, though. It was just like, yeah, I wonder. Kinjo, wait, come to think of it, I think there was someone. Someone who knows the alibis during dawn in detail. Who is it? During the investigation, Kurikawa, she clearly testified to me that she had seen who went to the arsenal in the morning. Right, Kurikawa? Yes. What? If that's true, the culprit has already been revealed, right? You're noisy. Be quiet. Hey, dark circles. So, who did you see? Sorry, I really fumbled that sentence. Jesus. Kurikawa's room was right next to the arsenal, so she heard the arsenal's door opening and closing. Of course, the arsenal is soundproof, so she didn't hear the sounds from the inside. I don't think hearing only the sound is enough to be a direct witness testimony. No, I saw people passing by in front of my door.
What? No way, you've been watching the hallway all morning, is that what you mean?
Nodding.
But then, still, it would have been difficult to stay sane in hunger, but watching the hallway all night without sleep is...
God. However, that worked nicely in reverse. The culprit couldn't have thought that there must have been someone in the midst watching the corridor. It's a great achievement, Kurikawa. So then who passed by? Well, I don't know the time. The exact time is unknown, but it was in this order. First was Haruhiko and Satsuki. From left to right, the arsenal didn't open at this time. A little later, Satsuki went from right to left. She was alone at this time. A little later, after Iranami passed, Teruya went from left to right. A little later again, I heard the sound of the arsenal door. Then Teruya went from right to left. And after a while, Haruhiko goes from right to left. Soon after, Haruhiko and Satsuki are together again.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, but wait a minute. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what's left to right or right to left. Can't you tell us a little more clearly?
You're the only one who doesn't understand so simple, aren't you? Don't cut the flow for no reason. Focus and listen. Don't be like that. I'm a little confused too. But let's listen to Kurikawa's story until the end and reorganize it in an easy-to-understand manner. Kurikawa, is that everything? Nods. Okay. What are we doing? Why did we fade to black? Indeed. As you said, you can assume that the killer has already revealed themselves. At the time of the investigation, I didn't know this because Kurikawa didn't tell me properly, but this is definitely a tremendous amount of information. Yeah, it is those two. Hey, I want to join the discussion too, but can't you tell us a little bit more easily? Oh, sorry, Taira. I'll organize it so it's easy to understand. Before that, there's something I want to check again. The location of the room each of us was using. If we know this, I think we can properly organize Kurikawa's information. Well, that's certainly something I want to do, and need to move on. From what I roughly checked with each other during the investigation... Oh god, look how compressed that image is. Everyone remembers the structure of the corridor behind the ballroom where the rooms are listed, right? As you would know if you did a little closer examination, there was a small tag on the door of each room. Yep. God, the layout is so weird because it starts like the whole top row is all even numbers except for the 1. It's just weird. So it goes 1, 3, 2. Okay, well, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. It goes 1, 2 first, then it kind of alternates back and forth up to 14. According to the tag, the rooms are distributed in this manner. Monokuma randomly gave us the key for each room. And from what I have investigated... Oh, look at those icons! Those are so cute! Room 1 was Yuki, room 4 was Haruhiko, room 5 was Akane, room 8, Mikako, room 9, Makaru, room 12, Tsurugi, room 13, Satsuki, room 14, Teruya. Okay. So, if she's looking from her perspective, right to left is from the arsenal to their rooms, and left to right would be from their rooms to the arsenal, for both Satsuki and Teruya. Though, Haruhiko going to his room, she wouldn't be, or going to the arsenal from his room, I don't think she'd be able to see that. So, that's a bit strange. This is probably how each of us were located in each room. When we reconsider Kurikawa's testimony after arranging the distribution of each room used by each person in this way, we can see that a few suspects are eliminated. Well, I mean, I didn't understand Mikako's words at all. That's your own fault. Are you going to blow up valuable discussion time for someone like you? Kinjo, that's too far. It's important for one person to know about the case, right? I'll rearrange it and explain to Taira. Do what you like, preferably as quickly as possible. Kinjo-kun, you still don't seem to forgive me. Taira, so to summarize Kurikawa's words simply... First, the fact that Kurikawa watched the hallway all morning. Taira, you heard it earlier, right? And based on what Kinjo summarized, Kurikawa's room is room 8. It's the room on the right side of the arsenal. When you go straight from the entrance of the arsenal to the corridor... As Kurikawa explained a little while ago, what she said was from left to right and from right to left was based on the direction facing the corridor in Kurikawa's room. Here, I'll make it more easy to understand with pictures. Is he just, like, drawing this? Like, just showing her? In the order that Kurikawa saw it, Haruhiko and Satsuki were the first people that passed by in front of the door at this time. She said there was no sound of the arsenal door opening at this time, so I think it's just the two of them passing by. And a little later, she said that Satsuki passed by alone again in the opposite direction. God, look at her face. Shortly after this, she said that Teruya passed by. And at this time, she could hear the sound of the arsenal door opening. This probably means that Teruya went to the arsenal. After a while, the sound of the arsenal door opening was heard again, and then Teruya passed to the opposite direction. Okay. Soon after, Haruhiko passed by the same direction again. So he didn't go to the arsenal at that time. After this, Haruhiko and Satsuki went from left to right again. And at this time, the door to the arsenal was opened. Someone went into the arsenal. Whether it was just one of them or both of them, we don't know, I guess. After that, there was no movement for a while, and after a little time passed, Satsuki passed by with the sound of the arsenal door opening. These are all the movements Kurikawa saw and heard during the morning. After this, well, she heard the ruckus of the arsenal door, but that was probably the sounds of me trying to open the door. Look at him move. Teruya, who passed by, heard the sounds that I made. Then I opened the door with Teruya's help during this time. That's the summary of what Kurikawa heard and saw, roughly like this. Do you understand? Wow, when Maeda-kun explained it to me, I understood it all at once. Thanks. Really? But wait, if we look at it from the current events on each step... Yeah, there's one suspicious person. Do you see it clearly? I can't guarantee 100% that Kurikawa heard and saw was everything that happened at dawn, but with the information obtained, till now has resulted in one influential suspect of this case. That person is... well shit, I don't actually know. I don't actually know, because, like, Satsuki was the last person that we saw with Haru, according to that. But also, we don't know, like, what the fuck Teruya has to do with it, so, like, I don't know. I feel like either of them could be right. again, like as I've been saying, gee, I don't know what they want me to pick here. I'm gonna say Satsuki because, like, that's, like, she was the last person to be seen with him. No? Okay. Oh. Okay. So they do want me to hit Teruya here. Okay. Teruya. It's the only one who fits to be the main suspect of this case.
Huh? Me?
I get that we are technically already cleared Satsuki, but I feel like they should still bring up the fact that, like, she was the last person to be seen with him and the last person to leave the arsenal. Like, I don't understand how she could have left the arsenal without setting up all the other stuff for the explosion. Like, because I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Haruhiko was the victim, so he couldn't help it. The fact that Satsuki was close to Haruhiko makes me understand why she was there. But why did Teruya move around like that so early in the morning?
Oh, that was, what was it again? Right, I was investigating, yeah? Everyone was in a panic, so I wanted to find clues to get out for even a little bit.
Just a few hours ago, you were trying to pick 2 victims. The guy who was despairing and doing investigation was thinking of all these things. Doesn't that sound a little weird?
That's all there is to it. The weight fixed my mind. People can change their mind easily, you know?
Even if it's true that you did an investigation, if you think about it based on Kurikawa's testimony, you were only in the arsenal. What kind of investigation did you do in the arsenal?
No, I never went into the arsenal.
Okay, well that can't be true. Itori-kun, please stop the pretense and explain properly. What the hell did you do in the arsenal?
I never went into the arsenal.
Teruya?
Why does it have to be only me? I did nothing wrong. If you look at it, Satsuki also went around at dawn. Why am I only suspicious? Yeah, I'm the culprit.
Are you still saying that? I told you to be quiet. Certainly, Hiranami is well under enough suspicion. However, she says she didn't know the identity of the letter, nor did she know about Haru's hand.
So that's it then? You're just gonna take her off the list just because she doesn't know? That's a long shot. I don't know anything about a letter on the right hand either.
Don't be mistaken, Teruya. You now said that Hiranami is the culprit, and you don't know about these clues. While Hiranami claims to be the culprit, but she doesn't recognize these clues, are entirely different matters.
Then what about Maeda? When I saw him this morning, he was trying to get in the arsenal, so Maeda is also suspicious.
That just happened. Yes, I won't deny that Maeda is a suspect as you claim. He had been in and out of the arsenal the previous day, and even this morning. He had the strange idea of going to the arsenal again. But this and that is a separate matter. As a result, Maeda failed to enter the arsenal this morning. There is no testimony of Kurikawa witnessing in the morning, so this is not suitable for committing the crime.
Oh, well, anyways, I don't know about that.
I'm exactly trying to protect him. I'm guessing not exactly. I'm not exactly trying to protect him, but relying only on Dark Circle's testimony has a slightly loose time frame. I'm going to ignore it to not make me go nuts and move on already. I know that. It's about the structure of the ballroom, right? The structure? Think about it. Even if Kurikawa watched the hallway all night, it's all about looking outside of the room and hearing the arsenal door. But if you look at the structure of the ballroom, you can easily enter the arsenal without passing by Kurikawa's door. Because we are all at the ballroom for a week, I think everyone should know, but the arsenal is structured around the dance hall at 360 degrees. In other words, if you go back to the other side, you can enter the arsenal without being noticed by Kurikawa. Moreover, in the case of Maeda, Kurikawa does not stand out even if he does not use this method and go straight into the arsenal from his own room, since it was in the opposite side to Kurikawa's room in the first place. You knew that too.
See, Maeda is the culprit after all.
But there's something you shouldn't overlook. Even if you use some method to enter the arsenal without showing your appearance to Kurikawa, there's still the sound of the door opening and closing that can only be heard by Kurikawa.
Yeah, but in Mikako-chan's testimony, the sound of the arsenal opening and closing was always heard before and after someone passed by her door.
That's right. After all, the person who walked in and out of the arsenal at dawn, I can't think of anything other than these 3 people who showed up in the testimony. Haruhiko, Satsuki, and Teruya.
That's all lies.
So Teruya, you went into the arsenal and I want to hear your reason to make sure. If you're really innocent, there's no reason to be in panic, right?
Then I'm really innocent. Really, I just went to the arsenal I just went in for a...
I don't think there will be an end if this goes on like this. What is Teruya so afraid of? I'm not sure. He doesn't want to say anything because... Well, I'm not certain, but I'll have to show more convincing evidence that he has no choice but to speak with his own words. Come to think of it, there seems to be one suspicious thing about Teruya during the investigation. What was it? It was when I was investigating something in the arsenal. Let's recall that moment. Spot selection. Okay, it's probably the gun in the corner. Doodly doot 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 doot. Got it. Corner gun. Alright. Come to think of it, Teruya, didn't you say something strange to me when I was investigating?
What? Something strange? I don't know.
I found a gun that was dropped in a corner, and when I checked it to investigate, suddenly you came and told me to not touch it because it will blow up. What do you mean, Maeda? Tell us in more detail. There was a gun in the corner of the arsenal that was hard to see. I tried to investigate why it was in a corner like that. Suddenly, Teruya, who was nearby, ran up and told me to not touch it because it would blow up if I shot. Maybe he thought I was going to use the gun. If you shoot, it will blow up? What are you talking about? No, before answering that question, how did he know about that?
That's...
Maeda, the gun, did you properly investigate it? Huh? I did examine it roughly, but it was a normal gun with nothing special. I thought it was equipped with a bomb or something because I thought it was going to explode. Probably it's not like that. Hey, Monokuma.
Did you call me? I was enjoying this. What's up?
I require you to submit evidence. Bring the gun Maeda mentioned.
What? What are you? Why am I being ordered?
Submit evidence? Is that possible? It is part of the debate of the class trial. There's no problem by the rules. You, the judge, have no right to deny it.
That's correct. There's no profit to reject it. Besides, if it's part of the discussion, what's the point? Gee, I really don't like that attitude. How can you be so cheeky?
Shut up and get it already.
Pooh-hoo-hoo. Actually, I thought this was going to happen, and I brought it from the beginning. Now here you go.
Okay. How is it? This is it. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a bullet. It's a bullet. Bullet? It was loaded? It's not a simple bullet. It's a bullet for shotguns and medium-sized rifles. Bullets that do not meet the standard were forcibly loaded to this gun. If you pull the trigger with one of these, a bullet that doesn't fit into the magazine, it enters the chamber and blocks the muzzle, and of course, no bullet shell comes out. The pressure from the gunpowder has disappeared from where it's supposed to go. Instead, goes spreading all over the gun itself. It will end up being shattered. Wait a minute, but then why did Teruya-kun know about this? Why? I see now what you did in the arsenal.
Ha ha ha.
But Tori-kun, did you change the bullets on purpose? For what reason? The gun in that state, if you hold it with a human hand and fire it... Oh, that's what happened to his hand. Your hand will never be safe. When I listen to those words just now, I see a very similar wound I remember in my mind. Yes, the source is clear. Haruhiko's right hand. I understand now. Haruhiko was hit by the explosion of the pistol that Kinjo was holding right now. That evidence was also used in the arsenal. That proof is... Wait. This? What? Oh, wait, the shattered gun? Wait, let me read this carefully. I know what he's talking about, but I'm trying to understand exactly what they want me to present to this. Haruhiko was hit by the explosion of the pistol that Kinjo was holding right now. That evidence was also in the arsenal. That proof is... This is so weird, because it could be like a bunch of different things. Like, it could be It's not this, but it could have been that. It could be as the fingers, and it could be the destroyed gun. I'm gonna go with the destroyed gun? Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's right. It was in the arsenal. The fragments of a gun filled with blood, which appeared to have been burst from the inside. Yeah, I saw it too. Haruhiko fired the gun wrongly loaded, just like this gun, and the gun he was holding exploded, and his hand ended up being ruptured. Then, Itori-kun did this to Kobushikawa-kun. Wait a minute, I'm sure this gun is the one I touched, but I don't know about the other destroyed gun. Huh, you admitted it, the fact that he touched the gun. No. Of course, there are 2 guns with misloaded bullets. It's a little weird, but I'm certain, Teruya, you definitely did something. Is that really it? I think if we pry a little more, you'll end up confessing everything. Don't treat people as a criminal without solid evidence. Even if I put my hands on the gun, it can't be proof that I'm a killer. So I don't know anything. Give me the proof. Evidence. It can't be denied that Teruya is the most powerful suspect right now. But is there any more solid evidence? If we keep discussing, we might see something we haven't considered before. Oh, okay, bullet scan. We've already learned about this. I think you use X to do it. So, because they said that, we're probably gonna have to do that here. I completely forgot about that with the other non-stop debates. So I'm glad they reminded me. Okay, let's see what we've got. I don't know anything. It's already been revealed. Stop lying and tell the truth. You went to the arsenal. You deliberately loaded the gun wrongly so that the bullets would explode. But only doing that doesn't mean I'm the culprit, does it? Of course you loaded the gun. You can say it doesn't make you the culprit, but... the killer loaded the bullets on purpose. I'm certain of this. That's far-fetched. I'm not a killer because I did that one thing. You're treating me as a culprit. You knew the gun was going to explode. What more evidence do you want to see? Itori-kun, how could you? I should have noticed the moment you asked to pick a vote. Pen and paper was given to us, you murderer. Okay, I feel like that's what we need to absorb, pen and paper, but I don't understand why. Pen and paper, pen and paper. Pen and paper, what does that mean? What does that mean in regards to this? It is certain that Teruya went into the arsenal at dawn and secretly manipulated a gun. But is that really all there is? Did they sneak at dawn just to do that one action? Let's think about it. If we listen to everyone's statements, we will be able to uncover another track of Teruya's deeds. Okay. I think we do have to absorb pen and paper. So let's go get that. Absorb this. Did I get it? There we go. Okay. I think... what they may be talking about is the fact that, like... because I remember when he brought out the pen and paper, Satsuki, I think it was her, she said, like, where'd you get that? Like, where'd you even get that? So I feel like that might be where we're going with this, is that we have to, talk about where he got this. Kill load of the bullets on purpose. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Is it this? Okay. I don't exactly understand the logic with that, but I guess we will find out what they mean by this. That's it. The paper and pen. Well, what? After listening to Tyra's words, I thought about it. At the beginning of the trial, you guys remember the letter that she said when you were blaming Satsuki? Oh! I didn't even think about that. The fact that someone even had the ways to write a note in the first place. I've been thinking it's been weird all this time. How did the culprit write this letter? We should have lost all of our belongings at the same time we were in the ballroom. That's right, he even said that he had all of his stuff on him. Hearing that, yeah, how did... oh. Yes, exactly as Maeda says. Perhaps the night before the murder, there was someone who secretly handed out a piece of paper, and that had been secretly showing a paper to ask someone to choose 2 victims. Hit! It's obvious at this point that Teruya clearly said that at that time, the extra paper and pen were not removed from his clothes. That means Teruya is the only one of us who has a paper and pen in their belongings.
Don't joke around. You could have accidentally found another piece of paper and wrote in it.
Oh, is that so? Should we check it then? Monokuma, bring that letter.
I knew that would happen, so I brought it in advance. Here.
Now, without that guy making a commotion, let's read it. It's the same paper that Teruya had. Then, Atori-kun was the one who sent that letter to Kobushikawa-kun's room?
Wait a minute, you're forcing me. I handed out a bunch of papers to you guys. Soon after that, when Kinjo made a fuss, he might have gotten one in the mass of the confusion.
If it's only paper, it might be possible. But what about your side? Teruya said it with his own words, there's only one pen. No matter how much paper you had, you cannot write a letter without a pen.
The pen was also in the confusion.
Huh. That means you don't have the pen right now because you said you only have one. If we look into your belongings and the party clothes you wore, you won't have any complaints, right?
That's not allowed.
Why not? Is there something we shouldn't see? It's decided then. You can't refute it anymore. He wrote a letter by calling out Haruhiko and misloading a bullet to let his hand be ruptured. All of this, that's what you did, Teruya. Really, you, Atori-kun? Why? Why did you do that? Why did you kill Kobushikawa-kun?
I'm sorry. All you said was right.
Really? After all, you couldn't stand the hunger, too?
What else could someone do otherwise? Actually, there was a reason that I was aiming at Haruhiko, and there was a reason for when we fought each day. It was all because of hunger.
Atori-kun. So what, were you hoping for sympathy? Either way, you planned the murder and executed it.
No, I have nothing to say. I don't want to make more excuses and dishonor Haruhiko anymore. I'm going to die anyways.
Wait, there's one thing I'm curious about. Why did you go to the arsenal before the victim, work with the gun, write a letter to call him, then go back again to the arsenal?
My plan was to originally summon Haruhiko and then see him go into the arsenal, and I would go with him. As if it had nothing to do with the criminal, Haruhiko and I were supposed to fight and then provoke him and letting him shoot me with the gun I prepared. Once that happens, his hand would fly away without knowing anything, and so he would die. In the past, I followed my papa to study guns in America. Then I decided to commit a crime by using the knowledge I gained at the time. So I went back to my room and watched to see Haru coming out, but I was too tired, so I fell asleep until morning came. In the end, I don't know the reason why Haru broke his hand, but in any case, it was my fault. The fact that I killed Haruhiko doesn't change.
Wait. But that doesn't say anything about you shooting him in the chest. No, this trial's not over yet. There's still way more to this. This was a difficult answer to even predict. I'm glad you're a stupid fool.
In a way, Kurikawa, who was watching the corridor all day morning, I think that was a good thing. Thanks to that, my crime was discovered.
Teruya. The discussion so far has ended with the conclusion that Teruya is the culprit? It seems like a long shot, I think. There's still a lot of unsolved questions. Yeah, we don't know about the grenade and stuff.
Wait a minute. I've been listening all this time. Something is wrong with this. Teruya is not the culprit.
Satsuki-chan, what are you talking about? Atori-kun just admitted it.
I mean, the culprit is me.
Are you still saying that? I told you to shut up. Wait. Is Teruya really the culprit? Even Mikako-chan? If I'm right, Teruya is not the culprit. There's still an unsolved mystery.
What are you guys talking about? I'm the culprit, aren't I?
I'm almost 90% certain that Teruya is the culprit, but it's still a little too early to end the trial. I agree that there's an unsolved mystery left. If we try to vote without anyone speaking up like this, I would have tried to do it, but actually this is the most important part of the case right now. What's this all of a sudden? Wasn't the trial ending like this? That's right. If we think about it carefully, there are still a lot of parts that cannot be explained on the contents of the discussion. But I'd like to hear why Kurikawa thinks Teruya is not the culprit. You weren't careful enough, even for Kinjo. What? Nothing. Anyway, if you listen to the explanation, you'll know right away. Spinny time! It's probably going to be about the fact that the door was locked. Gunshot chest wound, or that. Flash and smoke grenades, that. Wood plank, Teruya's behavior. Okay, it's definitely one of the first three. Why do you think Teruya isn't the culprit? When Teruya passed the door to my room, he sent a letter to Haruhiko. Yeah? Afterwards, he went inside the arsenal for his next plan. That is the explanation so far. Why is that highlighted? But after that, Teruya passed the door to my room again. There was no movement until the morning after. But they were. Even if Teruya did plotted something, even if Haruhiko's hand was exploded, the direct cause of death is a gunshot wound. True, Teruya didn't mention that he used the gun himself. If Teruya, who came out of the arsenal before Haruhiko, could not kill, the arsenal was blocked from the inside. Do I just have to shoot it? Oh, shit. Does anyone know about this? Yeah, okay. So that's what we gotta do. Okay. Yeah, I know what to do. Oh, well, actually, though... Okay, no, we gotta use the plank for that. Because the plank is actually what was blocking it. The grenades and stuff, that was just part of the setup. This. Shoot. Alright. Break. Okay. The wood plank. Are you referring to this, Kurikawa? That's right, Maeda. You mean the broken wood plank that fell near the arsenal door? Yeah, according to Maeda, he opened the arsenal door in the morning with Teruya's help. You're not going to say just because they opened the door together, he's not the culprit, are you? That's not it. Think about it. After Teruya entered and left the arsenal in the morning, Haruhiko entered afterwards. Until this moment, the door to the arsenal was open. Then, was the door blocked with the wood planks? Well, when was it? It is for a fact that Kobushikawa-kun opened the door and went in. Doesn't that mean that the door was blocked after that? That is true, but according to the Dark Circle's testimony, Teruya Otori did not even enter the arsenal after doing his little scheme. In other words, Teruya wasn't the one who blocked the door with a wood plank. It's only natural. When I tried to open the door with Maeda in the morning, I was embarrassed to know that the arsenal, which had only been opened, was not opening. As I said before, you must pass by Kurikawa's room. Even if you don't, you can head to the arsenal door. After that, the door to the arsenal was opened one more time. After that, Teruya finished his plan. That's impossible. Since Haruhiko was the last one to enter, the arsenal door has only been opened once. If Teruya went in and out of the arsenal, I should have heard the sound twice. Well, for starters, the wood plank were used to clasp the door, I guess. If you do something like this from the inside, won't you be able to come out? That's true. But even if you put a plank by some trick from outside, there wasn't just one plank. You know what I'm talking about, right, Maeda? Wait, what? There wasn't just one plank. Yes, I saw it clearly. The thing that fell with the plank. Oh, okay, yeah. That thing was... doodly-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo... this. Right, the objects that were separated from the plank. You mean the flash and smoke grenades, right? Flash and smoke grenades? Ah, is that those things that were near the door? Yes, when Teruya and I first opened the door, we heard a shattering sound from the inside, and immediately afterwards a tremendous amount of light and noise hit us. And then after a few moments when we opened our eyes, the arsenal was filled with smoke. After pulling out the plank from the handle, the door was opened and the plank fell because of the effort we did. That's right. Now you see? It's impossible to block the door like that from the outside. What? Then are you saying Otori-kun is not the culprit? Wait a moment, but it was me who wrote the letter and had a gun ready to explode. It was the reason Haru saw the gun and then it exploded on his hand. I told you a little while ago. It is true that Haruhiko's right hand was ruptured, but the cause of death was the gunshot wound. Teruya, you only prepared the gun, but you didn't shoot Haruhiko, did you? No. I have a bad feeling about this. Hold it. Teruya had an obvious murder intent. Now it's a contradiction to say that he isn't the culprit. What's wrong, Mr. Cop? Using forceful logic in that way doesn't seem like it would reach an answer like this. Dark Circles is right. I don't think Teruya Otori is the killer either. Then who is the culprit? You're saying it's impossible for Teruya to block a door. However, no one else can do it. That's true. That's the biggest mystery in this case. So what are you all saying is, in short, it's an impossible crime. What? That's where we're stopping? Okay. Well, I don't have a good feeling about this. I do not have a good feeling about this. Because if we're saying it's now impossible to be Teruya, that means there's really only one person it could be. And I don't like that. I don't like that. But I am gonna stop the episode here. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Next time, we're gonna finish Chapter 4, and I'm probably not going to like it. But I don't know, maybe there's something else. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this, guys. I'm not looking forward to the rest of this trial. I'm not looking forward to it at all. But yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.